John Hastings is getting hot takes. This is a chat. John, take hot.
Oh, this is
get
a
hot.
fat. That's what we call PHAT because we're fucking
Take a
pretty hot and
have a big
tempting.
fucking chat on you, my cunt.
Oh, put your chat on my tits.
So we want to talk about, first thing we want to talk about is in the thank God there's competition, weirdly. You were saying you think that them signing Cody Rhodes might swing everything in favor of WWE. At least narrative wise, because like once again I listen to this show where they just track YouTube hits.
Oh,
and it's like still AEW's not close. Anyway,
no,
continue.
AEW, because here's the thing that AEW doesn't have is the fact that once a year they can film a video inside a giant stadium, and they also don't have the budget to be like, all right, for the next 6 months, we're building a ramp on top of our ramp, so Cody for some reason can come up the stage. I don't know, fuck you. Like, let me say this right now. If Cody wasn't coming from AEW, that WrestleMania entrance and his attire in general is awful. I hate his music. I hate his presentation. What? I am the new Ric Flair. As we all know, Ric Flair's favorite music, Screamo from 2009. Hit it, fellas. Like, it's just so...
Well, he completely controls his own character, and he's also like a rich kid's son, and he's crazy. Like, the other thing about the weird thing I will say about Cody Rhodes is that anti-Cody Rhodes heat didn't travel with him to the WWE. They just like him again. Which, like, it's just wrestling fans. Like, there's no division in who these people are. Like, there's a couple cheerleaders on Twitter, and as usual, like, people think, like, something getting retweeted 30 times or 300 times means it's viral. It does not. It's just, like, it's just a couple people on Twitter believing something. But anyway, like, people like Cody Rhodes in this thing, and I do too, but it's like he's Homelander from The Boys, but a good guy, and, like, I'm supposed to root for this dude, even though it's like,
agree.
Why is he winning the title? Why does this? He has bad blonde hair. He has veneers now. All his fucking promos are like really disingenuous acting monologues. Like, and this will cut up. Like, someone said something really smart on.
It was me. It's me who said the smart thing, by the way. This was me. Whatever.
Well, isn't it one person? It was one person. It was John and a bunch of other people. But like, they need to make him face Roman Reigns quick, because if they do it in 2 months, then Cody's the baby face. But if they do it in 6, that place is going to go nuts for Roman, because Roman's
100%.
a way cooler character. Like, he just fucking comes out. He says, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. He does. And the thing that makes Roman Reigns a heel is he's scared sometimes, but then he's like, oh, I'll just win.
Yeah. Well, it's like, again, here's the thing that's so interesting about the WWE is it's like, you know how the idea is that like this is such a weird metaphor, but I think it's 100% correct, which is like, it's always explained that the political spectrum is a line when we all know it's actually a circle. And if you get so close into like so fundamental about your ideology, you just become whatever your version of a fascist is. The WWE booking policy is it's like they've gotten so bad. And all it was for the last 5 years is pushing Roman Reigns, that they've gotten so good at actually pushing Roman Reigns and figuring out how to make all of the wrestling fans being like, this is all right, actually, that they're actually sort of heading towards an interesting booking scenario. Do you understand? Like,
well, what happened was the pandemic happened, which was great for one thing, which was they took the audience out of it. So now it's like this weird thing that, I don't know anything about Vince McMahon, but it's like he wanted to push Roman Reigns as this
That's
like
not true. Shut the fuck up.
Thing.
We know way too much about that, man. I would say that we could, if they did the Netflix documentary properly, we could 100% be like, no, I know what happened. Like
yeah, he's fucking hot. Anyway, but like what I want to say is he wanted to push Roman Reigns in this specific way, and then it somehow. What I think it was, I think Roman Reigns literally got leukemia, came back, people still booed him, and he fucking came backstage and was like, do you see how much they fucking... I got leukemia, I beat it legitimately, people gave me 2 weeks of being like, hey, you beat leukemia, and then they were like, we hate the Shield music, we hate everything. So now he comes out as the fucking tribal
head
chief,
of the table,
and they
baby.
get what they wanted to anyway, which is like, dude, it's like if if it's 20 years, you fast forward 20 years in 2016, IC champ Rocky Maivia, and I'm far from the first person to say this, but you take that character, there's no way The Rock happens. They just keep on making IC champ Rocky Maivia the champion. Do you know what I mean? There's no way.
No,
they just are
agree.
like, no, because you like him.
What it is again is here's the weird thing about the WWE, but particularly with Vince McMahon, is Vince McMahon has so not dealt with it. This is such a weird thing to say, but I do genuinely believe it. He has so not dealt with the trauma of his childhood that he's actually only successful when it is extreme adversity, in that he can only operate in an environment where he's proving someone wrong. My dad hated me, so he left. I will take over his business, wear his suits, and be more successful, and make all of his friends be my employees. Ted Turner,
which is weird.
It's so weird. Owns CNN. I will crush him. This is his interpretation. I will crush him by finding a bald drunk man who will give the finger. I will then find a convicted rapist to do the 3 count at WrestleMania 14, and then I will be a billionaire. That plan worked. I will create a streaming service before we've figured out that technology, and it will fail so badly. NBC, as they always do, will just give me $1 billion for something that's already not failing because their thing is failing more. AEW is being started by a very nerdy loser who works for his dad.
And what's being revealed is a very specific nerd, a guy who clearly watched wrestling until the year of 2007.
Yes, exactly.
Because he's literally making 2005 Ring of Honor. Like, that's his nut. That's his fucking shoot everywhere wrestling promotion. Is that he wants CM Punk. He wants to do CM Punk Samoa Joe 4, and CM Punk will win, and it'll be an hour long.
I don't care. I don't care about CM Punk anymore. Like, I didn't care beforehand. I gotta be honest.
In the minority there, buddy. Like,
I know I was. I've been in the minority.
It's one of those things where, like,
I completely agree. I'm not going to explain my logic, but you could probably figure out where I'm coming from based on. Anyway, we're not going to talk about it. What we are going to talk about is the fact that, like, I wasn't jazzed about it because it's one of those things where it's like,
why don't we just have a you don't talk about CM Punk rule, so you don't say anything that you shouldn't say?
Yeah, because
we just shouldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
CM Punk is an amazing anyway.
Yeah.
That's all I want to talk about. But Cody Rhodes is the interesting thing where it's like
Cody Rhodes is here's my theory. Is I think Cody Rhodes he's like, wait, Tony Khan just wants to make Ring of Honor 2005. And there's no place for the Homelander Ric Flair in Ring of Honor 2005 because someone is going to be like, I'll tell you who's not honorable. The guy who's dressed like He-Man if they made that movie in the 70s. Like,
it's because he doesn't know. It's this really weird thing where it's like, here's how I want. So when he first went out on the indies, it was do whatever it takes. Oddly, it's a lot like Vince McMahon. Do whatever it takes to get over. He did that. He did some fucking badass feuds. I forgot about his feud in Ring of Honor with Steve Corino, and this is why Cody Rhodes, people like Cody Rhodes, is because his entire impetus for his feud with Steve Corino was, hey, remember when you were the young guy and you beat up my dad? Well, now I'm the young guy and you're the old guy. I'm going to beat the fucking shit out of you. And he did. And then that was the whole feud. And then now that he's not that guy, he's dressed like a heel. Everything about him is a heel, but he just can't accept that he's a fucking heel.
I see what you're saying. I agree with you. He's a heel, and I agree with everything. If the WWE wants to capitalize on this guy, he's got to face Roman within. Like, they got to be building to. They need to do a 3-match series that culminates in.
He's about to be Cody Cena soon. Like, he's going to be 2008 John Cena.
Yeah. Like, I already can tell you that there's people on the internet being like, I've had enough of this Cody Rhodes. Like, it's already happened. Here's how you know here's will be the indicator. The second Jim Cornette turns on Cody, because right now Jim Cornette is literally living
No. Jim Cornette hates Cody. He
doesn't. Have you listened? Because I didn't watch Cody come out on Raw. I just listened to Jim Cornette talk about Cody, and they're being very positive in how he's being presented, but they did already point out that his fucking entrance is stupid. Like they already are starting there, and I'm going, yeah, you got fucking
Well, they
90 days.
They hated Cody on AEW when he
I
already
agree with you
controlled
completely.
his own fucking.
But listen
shit.
to me one more time, you little keto boy, or I'm gonna come over there and make you have
Keto is not the answer. You gotta eat sandwiches. Continue.
Yeah, no, but you keep telling me they're keto sandwiches because Dylan,
Yeah.
what he does is he takes a sausage and he cuts it like it's a hero, like a hero sandwich, and he fills the sausage. He puts peanut butter and jam on the sausage, and he eats that. I'm keto. Dylan sends me a lot of YouTube videos of him eating.
Yeah, I sent him a lot of Athlean X about how things are killing his gains. Continue, John. John is looking at a butt. This is
I was looking at it. Dylan sent me a cock pic, but it wasn't his cock. It was just that of a rooster.
It was just Braun Strowman's head.
Oh,
Continue.
yeah. By the way, we will of course be wrapping up this chat episode by doing a new segment on our chat episodes called I like to call Wrestling Twitter Roundup, where we just talk about the social media output of various wrestling figures. This week, Dylan, would you like to tell them who we'll be talking about?
I mean, the only thing to talk about is Braun Strowman versus Buff Bagwell.
Yeah, we will get to that. That will be the conclusion, but I want to talk more about Cody Rhodes in
the guy who took his fucking, once again, his fiance and her dad to a strip club.
Sometimes it feels like that man is definitely a cum monkey, and he was like, John and Dylan need something to talk about. Dylan became a father, and John lived the year of Job. So like, I better do something that they'll both love. I'm gonna get my dad, my sister. I'm gonna get my father-in-law.
Control your narrative.
Cheetahs.
Control your goddamn narrative, John.
I am.
That's all
I
I
control
can
my narrative. Listen, Dylan. I know you control your narrative.
Your narrative is not controlled.
Well, I've been meeting with my inner booker. Have you been keeping it kayfabe in your soul?
Were you fighting yourself?
Dylan, should we start
I'm not gay. Just a guy gets in the middle. I'm not gay. I'm not gay.
I just want to like. I'll tell you how I control my narrative.
Next week is John gay? I mean, he's clearly gay. Who would yell about not being? No, he's controlling his narrative. He's keeping the gay inside. That's the point of control your narrative. Never fuck a man, even though you're a wrestler.
Promotion does not violate any of those laws against gay conversion. So let's all control our narrative and not think of hard, delicious penises.
Yeah. Let's just fucking get some tight jeans, rub our little bodies together, and never be gay. But just,
let's make
just
sure
enough that we.
Do you want to know how I control my narrative? I get a guy. I get him to put his hard, delicious penis in my mouth. I do not move. He doesn't move. We just sit there and we think about how we're controlling our narratives.
It's like how models just hard sniff food.
Exactly. And at the end of that, sure, he's gonna shoot a hard load into my mouth because of the anticipation. One involuntary shudder is going to send a rocketing cloud of cum down my throat, and I will eat it because that's protein, and I control my narrative. You got to eat your protein. Oh. The most natural form of protein is cum. I want everyone to know that 2 minutes ago we were dissecting the booking of Cody Rhodes, and I just mentioned that cum is protein. Also, I think I smell new merch for our Patreon listeners. Just a T-shirt that says "Cum is protein."
Here's what I wanted to get to, though, because like our first episode ever was just trying to guess what AJ Styles would do in WWE. What do you think Cody Rhodes is going to do in WWE? Because I think it's a lot closer to the episode we recorded somehow 2 presidents ago. Was it 2 presidents? I think it was.
It was.
2 presidents ago, which was, I think he's going to flounder, but I think he's a lot... Weirdly... Cody Rhodes has all the things that WWE wants, but is going to flounder because
Are you ready?
he's... Go for it.
Samoa Joe. He's going to do the Samoa Joe.
You think he's just going to do some stuff, go to NXT and leave?
Yeah. It's going to be like, cool, Samoa Joe's. Yeah, it's not that cool, actually.
Because he clearly stated he wants the thing. So here's the thing Cody has, is that Vince needs this Cody thing to work, and I think that that's the whole reason that, like, if you watch the Cody segments, he's like saying wrestler and not superstar. He says belt and not title, which is very much like a subtle Cody Rhodes thing to do. So it's like, I think that Vince needs this thing to succeed so much that he will make it because that's what he wants to have happen, and he hasn't needed a character to succeed like this in a while because he has to basically show, like, all these fucking AEW fucks that they made the wrong decision by leaving.
So I see what you're saying. Here's what I would say is I think that's coming from Cody and not Vince. I think Cody went, you got to give me the, because Vince is a control freak. So I bet you would, and Cody knows all of this. And also the thing we've since learned from all the weird media scrums is that Cody like loves Triple H and they were very close. Or at least he's like, or not very close, but he was a huge fan of Triple H. So I guarantee Triple H
Cody's the new Triple H now.
Pardon me? Yes. It's basically Cody is like, I'll take the Triple H spot sort of thing, and sold that to Triple H, which means Triple H is like, listen, I nearly died and you guys ruined NXT. Let this guy say belt and title, say belt and wrestler. So it's again, that is all. I bet you Cody is smart enough to have read into it exactly what you've said, which is he's got 2 months before he's seen a Cody. And him doing that is adding days onto him being like Cody Rhodes, Nature Boy Homelander, and not Cody Rhodes, John Cena sucks. Like that's what he's doing. I see what you're saying. I do not think Vince McMahon knew or was aware. Vince McMahon is letting it happen. And then the second that there was any sign of failure, Vince McMahon's taking control as he always does. Vince McMahon's very smart in that he's like, I'll let you try something. I will then manipulate things so it looks like it didn't work for me, for both of us. I then get to take control and make it much worse.
This is the thing, though. It's like, he's going to make it worse, but is it going to be worse? Because there's nothing worse that's going to happen, which is Cody's going to control everything, and everyone's still going to turn on him because he's disingenuous. Like
how bad Vince McMahon can make something in wrestling. Do you know what I'm saying?
I just mean like Cody Rhodes is probably like everyone. Like he's just a lot more smug than he thinks, and I don't think that casting Cody Rhodes as Stardust again is as bad as like Cody Rhodes coming out as a main event talent and just ignoring. And let's be real. The reason Cody Rhodes left AEW is because
back up. 1 second. I just want to clarify your point. You are being too generous to the WWE. When the Shield broke up, there's no way anyone could have predicted Dean Ambrose is leaving the WWE after a really long time where his gimmick is he's a bad guy.
I would have predicted that.
Germs. No, you wouldn't have. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Don't be that guy.
Yeah, I would have.
All right, wrestling internet. All right, everyone who likes wrestling on the internet.
I could have predicted it.
No, you couldn't have. You couldn't.
You know, I will say this: Seth Rollins did a lot better than I thought he would, and I will say the second thing is, I thought Dean Ambrose when the Shield started, I honestly was like, they're gonna pivot into this guy into basically being a manager for Roman Reigns, and that's how I thought they were going to make them baby faces. Is I thought that Seth was going to be the heel, Tyler Black at the time was going to be the heel, and then I thought that Dean Ambrose would be Roman Reigns' little buddy who's always fucking in over his head. And they booked Dean Ambrose stronger than I thought. Because I was like, oh, this guy can talk, this other guy can't, so they're just going to keep this little guy around, that was Dean Ambrose, until Roman Reigns can talk, which they did, and then they're going to split them up, which they did. You could tell immediately it was like, okay, well, they've got two indie dudes who can work, and basically they're just sitting there in this stable until this big dude can work, and then Roman Reigns, for whatever you want to say about Roman Reigns, and for whatever you want to say about John Cena, in the era of I don't give a fuck if you don't like them, we're pushing them anyway, they're so good as wrestlers. They're better than The Rock as a wrestler. Not as obviously anything approaching Rocky Maivia star, whatever. But
what I will also say about Roman Reigns,
controlling your narrative.
Roman Reigns did it. Roman Reigns fought through everything to get to a place where the audience
finally listened to Roman Reigns.
Yes, they finally did.
No one looked at Roman Reigns, and no one. This is what every fucking internet nerd, no matter how much they fucking hated Roman Reigns, no one looked at him and was like, "He should be a mid-carder." It's like, no, he clearly
of course, no. It's the Batista effect. It's that thing of like, we hated Batista, but he should be in the main event. Like, do you know what I mean? It's also, by the way, a little bit what the Undertaker effect, in that, like, we all kind of like the Undertaker. Some of those WrestleMania matches, it was like, oh God, stepdad grandpa's here and he's been drinking and he wants to have a fight with Bray Wyatt. Like, it was not fun to watch some of those Undertaker matches, but it was like, this is what he does and we like to see these things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you find the thing the wrestling fan agrees with what you should be doing, you will be perennially protected. Tito Santana should be occupying the same space in all of our minds as the Brooklyn Brawler, but we all agree Tito Santana of all wrestlers was booked exactly the way Tito Santana should have been booked. So everyone's like, this is fine. Tito rules. Tito fucking rules.
Well, yeah, because that was a time where you could just be like, this guy is clearly a good person off screen. Look how excited he is. And I was like,
yeah, this
anyway,
guy clearly
what I want
loves
to talk
his
about
kids.
is Tony Khan with
Yes.
that tweet. Will be the wrestling Twitter roundup, which essentially was a show on it. Anyway, Tony Khan with that tweet that there's like bots out to get.
Oh, okay. First of all,
Do you
Dylan,
think that's
please-
real, or do you think that that's just him trolling?
No. Okay. Okay, here's my theory.
Because sometimes I don't think we can appreciate how fucking nuts you can go when you're a billionaire's kid who's like never had to like Tony Khan was. I don't think I've ever looked this up, but Tony Khan was never even born in the same area code as doing labor, right? Like, do you think Tony Khan's ever done laundry? Do you think Tony Khan's ever been like, which cycle do I?
I don't think Tony Khan's ever backed up a car.
That's true.
I don't think I genuinely think Tony Khan, like, it just goes in drive.
And that's the thing. That is the thing about you really do picking your poison where like Vince McMahon's been rich so long that he forgets what it's like to be poor. But at one point Vince McMahon in his formative years obviously was horribly poor and had like basically was in gangs of New York style fights in South Carolina.
Where Vince McMahon for a long time in his life lived poor and understands sort of quote unquote poor work. Like he understands working class culture. He understands living paycheck to paycheck. He can't comprehend it anymore, but he has some sort of like, there is a visceral thing he remembers. Tony Khan, and we may be so wrong about this, but I'm going to say it. Tony Khan like remembers like there was the struggling years when he only had 4 maids. You know what I'm saying? and then at a certain point, it's just like, I read that tweet and I was like, what this is he's pissed the WWE off, which he should have, like, that tweet was basically him saying, oh shit, Eric Bischoff was right when Eric Bischoff screamed shut up and wrestle, because I've now awoken the WWE and they're coming. And I can't comprehend that the WWE isn't going to beat AEW. The AEW is not the same as WCW because AEW at the very least has a love of the game and a love of wrestling and a want to keep this going. But they're now going to try. Do you understand? Like the way that they're not going to try for very long. And you are right. Cody is going to be squandered and is going to be a Samoa Joe and will be the NWA World Champion within 2 years is my prediction. And working in
dope. That's what he should be doing.
That is what he should be doing, by the way. And that said, AEW is about to really face some stiff competition because guess what? The WWE could decide, you know what? We do want QT Marshall. You know what? like what? Like it's not that fucking
MJF. MJF's the big one. And MJF, as much as it's part of his character, just tweeting about how 2024 get ready to spend money. Like that's true. Like that's MJF can come in. But then the other thing is he's smart enough to be like, I'll tell all the stories I can tell in AEW. And that dude, once again, we've said this, but he's smart enough to actually go to the WWF for 2 years. Just even if it is just to like be away from AEW. So you're like, you know?
And also the thing with Cody has opened the door. And it's a door that AEW shouldn't like. Tony Khan should have been a dick and been like, but you can't use that song.
I think he owns the song. It's his song.
I understand. Tony Khan shouldn't have let that. Like, I completely agree. It's
but
Cody's
like he
song.
used it in Ring of Honor previously.
I understand. I understand all of that.
But just
Tony Khan, if he's smart, he's got to stop that. Tony Khan needs to learn the lessons the WWE is, because what that does is, I agree with it. It's better for the wrestler, which is as a fellow performer, this is important and this should happen. From the business, it's one of those things where it's like, I disagree with this practice. I 100% understand how it benefits them and not us, which is why I hate it. But if we're talking about what Tony Khan should be doing to fight off the WWE, first things first is going, I own the MJF name. I own your, like, better not see a Burberry scarf, better not see your theme music, because now what they've created is even better than the like WWF wrestler showing up in WCW and joining the NWO is you can literally have MJF music from AEW play on WWE TV. So there is no mistaking who it is. And there is no...
I don't know about the MJF thing because that is specifically done by the AEW music guy. So that, like, Cody, this is the whole thing, is Cody bought a bunch of trademarks. So like War Games, when they were doing War Games, that was very much because it was Dusty Rhodes' thing. They were doing I think they bought Bash at the Beach, so there was like AEW Bash at the Beach. But that's Cody Rhodes bought that trademark, not AEW.
Which is stupid. Which was stupid of them. Like that was a stupid Tony Khan, I have 8 butlers move.
But this is the move of AEW being on the other side of the WWE, where it's like, yeah, Rick Rude could just show up on WCW because we didn't have contracts back then.
Yeah,
like that's what this is. But and obviously it's way more important oddly. But like then you look at WWE and it's like, this is the first time they've ever let a dude just walk on and be the character he was on TV.
Exactly. And that's not a good precedent for AEW that has been set, because the WWE is saying, all right, we'll do some of the stuff they do. Not for everyone.
And they can do it well, but like, I don't know. It's interesting to think of like how good it can be. And do I think Tony Khan like is taking on too much? Do I think that like
yes,
he's
I think Tony Khan, that bots and Twitter thing was also, he's addicted to the fact that he's like the internet, to certain internet wrestling fans, he's Jesus.
Well, because that's what AEW is at the end of the day. If you look at the numbers and everything, what they are is TNA realized. Like TNA could have been this.
Yeah,
totally.
By the way, so could have Ring of Honor. If Ring of Honor had played the Bullet Club and all of that a little, if basically Ring of Honor not with Sinclair Broadcasting also could have been AEW. To the point
they
that
never had funding properly other than Sinclair Broadcasting, and Sinclair Broadcasting is like never going to give you full funding.
Welcome to Ring of Honor. We're brought to you by the brown shirts. Like, it's so fucking weird, but like,
but also like AEW is very much what wrestling needs to be, unless it is the WWE, which
I totally agree with you, but
run
again,
like a comedy club where
is,
the only people who like wrestling, the only people who would open a comedy club, the only people who would open a wrestling organization are people that like those things. You know what
I agree with you completely, but listen to what I've said, and if you interrupt me, I'm coming to where you are. I'm going to kiss you on your lips because I know you don't like it. I know you don't like it. I don't like it. You don't like it the way I kiss because I don't use
narrative. Don't change my narrative.
I don't use the redness of my lips. I put those in. I go like this.
I don't want that. I don't do that to my narrative.
The idea that Change Your Narrative is just an undercover conversion therapy camp
100%.
is 100% what it is. It's 100%.
There's only men in the audience, and they are watching some fucking straight up dime pieces rub it on each other. Except for Adam Scherr is ugly, but if you're into some stuff that he does, he's a
Yeah, I heard that they signed the bunny from Adam Rose's dance party just to have Braun Strowman kill him in the ring.
Yeah.
A man doesn't wear a costume. A man doesn't do that. Are you a boy?
They're signing Orlando Jordan just so they can clearly state that half of him is bad because he's bisexual, and then they are burning down the building, killing themselves and him.
Yeah. They also are having there's I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was an email leaked, and they're hiring Orlando Jordan just to walk out and go, Blue Lives Matter. They're hiring him just to yell Blue Lives Matter.
Well, this is another problem I have with Tony Khan is that, like, they hired Nyla Rose, which, by the way, I don't know if you're on the wrestling Twitter thing of people calling him Dante Rhodes, because apparently Cody Rhodes was basically the only person who would talk to the black female talent backstage.
What do you mean?
Devontae Rhodes. And then there's all these things of like wrestling Twitter just, putting Cody Rhodes in I don't know the word for it, but anyway, there's putting him in fun hats and just saying basically he's the closest Like, you know what I mean? They have an all black title picture now because they have Bobby Lashley and Cody Rhodes in the title picture. Good for them. But just basically like that joke over and over again as I fucking mumble my words. But anyway, the thing I want to visit is that Tony Khan literally books AEW like it is the 80s NWA, where it's like, hey, we got Swerve Strickland in. Who's he going to team with? Keith Lee. Okay, well, who are they feuding with? Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. So that's that part of the show done. None of them will interact with anyone else on the show. Oh, Eddie Kingston we need something. He maybe can have a stable. How about Homicide and what? No, we don't have Homicide? All right, then Santana and Ortiz, whatever, fine.
Please welcome, Tony Khan has named this tag team. They are no longer Santana and Ortiz. They're now, and Eddie Kingston, they are now the people you'll see using a barbecue at the side of a highway in the Manhattan area. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I totally know what you're going for, which is, I also don't think Tony Khan is racist. I think Tony Khan is horrifically out of touch and doesn't.
I don't think it's.
All right. But here, let me finish my point. So he did. Who could that be?
Ooh, I hope that's Tony Khan.
If it's Tony Khan, I'm going to lose my mind.
Stop saying that.
Hello. I'm all good. Can I grab those towels?
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much. Cheers, guys. Have a good one. Thank you. Bye. Just got towels, guys.
Well, if you talk about wrestling too loudly in a hotel, here's what
they'll
happens.
give you towels. They
will go up and be like, "You're gonna nut for sure. You're one of those guys."
Excuse me.
Nuts.
Are you about to jack off and require 5 towels? And I was like, I actually require 6, and they're like, "Please take these."
Can you just stop talking? Anything to stop?
That
talking?
was a guest of the hotel, by the way. That was not housekeeping.
Ooh.
That was the person across the hall. Was like, "Your podcast sounds so good. Can I give you some towels?" Your takes on Tony Khan are so hot.
Tony Khan. I don't know what it is, but you've said Tony Khan and control your narrative for 30 minutes in a row.
Dylan, I need these towels to control my narrative. I have to stuff these towels on my erection every time I
stuff these towels in your narrative whenever your narrative isn't under your control.
Yeah. Welcome everyone to Control Your Narrative. I will never forget on January 6th when all those patriots tried to control the narrative.
Baby, this might fucking sound weird, but can you suck my fucking narrative?
That joke was so good it knocked my headphones off.
Narrative's my ass now. I gotta rub.
Okay, but again, but now my point about Tony Khan, and I mean this, excellent point about Tony Khan. Here's what it is. Are you ready, Dylan? Are you ready?
Okay.
He's not a racist. He's just terrifically out of touch because he's had 8 butlers. So in his head, he's like, I have a wrestling company. I have to hire black people. Black people like each other. There. I am a wrestling company. I have to hire Latin people. Latin people like each other. There. Now to concentrate on mainstream people. White people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like...
Yeah, and I think he's just like kind of like a guy who got more toys than he bargained for. And flooding with the weird thing is people were saying this as like a thing, and I don't think that this is real, but like Nick Khan basically being like, hey, let's make more money for our shareholders. That's all that matters. So we can get this fucking crazy deal from NBC. Because that's the other thing. WWE's streaming rights are up. And like you said a while ago, the fact that they're trying to get Lean and Mean to sell, like that's like an internet thing people are thinking of. I don't think that's true, but I do think that Nick Khan is just making it as lean and mean as he possibly can. And to be honest, it's like they employed too many fucking wrestlers. They tried to basically had AEW on TV, and then they decided we don't want to do that anymore, so they released everybody. And they flooded AEW with talent to the point where they signed everybody because there was all this fucking talent there. But Tony Khan didn't have you know what Tony Khan I guarantee never had was a master list of his dream company.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And also, by the way, oh my God, that's such a fucking good point. Is he didn't have in a perfect world, here's how we do all of this.
Like make a list of every fucking wrestler in NXT and under the WWE umbrella. And then make a list of who we have, because this is the other thing is that the guys that started with AEW are starting to get to a point where it's like they can be superstars. And a lot of them are super young, but there's a weird thing in wrestling where it's like you can't stay, and this is like a fucking old thing, but you can't stay in the territory too long, otherwise people get tired of you. So even though Sammy Guevara's in his 20s and all these dudes are in their 20s, they're already in AEW for 3 years, so they're old to the AEW crowd. So you need to give them either time off or they need to go.
And here is the thing with it is,
and also WWE's for sure coming for 3 people.
MJF.
Sorry to cut you off. MJF, Jack Perry, who's Luke Perry's fucking son.
Oh yeah, Jungle Boy. Yeah, okay.
Jungle Boy, and the Acclaimed. So I think that's 4. And the Acclaimed are fucking good, and they're gonna be gone soon because they are beefy, hot guys. One of them has Anthony Bowens has like in the smartest thing ever, has like a super good YouTube channel with his boyfriend. And Max Caster is everything Vince McMahon wants, which is I can be a shitty fucking mid-card heel for the rest of my life because all he has to do is he gets his heat on the way down by doing a rap, making fun of people, and then they get to win the match. But he has already insulted them so well that he has heat for the next time he has to lose. He could be 0-800. It doesn't matter. You just give him job matches.
As you all know, I hate when Dylan is right. I hate it.
I am
punch
so
him in his
fucking
face.
right.
And by the way, it was literally the point.
And Wardlow. I guess Wardlow, but like Wardlow seems like he'll be Taz because he's 6'1" and he uses a powder bomb.
If you interrupt me again, I'm coming over.
I'm going to interrupt anyone.
And I'm going to make you eat some greens. I completely agree with everything you're saying. Is that AEW, because AEW is also positioning themselves slowly, which is in 2 to 3 years, they will be getting the same complaints as the WWE. And they are too driven by fan interaction and fan approval to weather that storm in the same way. And exactly what you said, the WWE, I didn't think of the Acclaim. My 2 were MJF and Jungle Boy, because every wrestling fan, again, it's quoting Jim Cornette, but Jim Cornette's 100% right, which is MJF is the second coming of Rowdy Roddy Piper. He's that type of heel, which is like, you just put him with anyone and you're like, yeah, let's watch this fucking guy get the shit kicked out of him. And then all you got to do is turn that guy babyface against an even dickisher heel, such as old Vince McMahon, and everyone's going to be like, yeah, I'll watch this guy do this. Also, it gives Vince McMahon an opportunity to try out putting the debate about anti-Semitism on his television, which we all know will not be handled appropriately. If MJF goes, just because I don't know if MJF is Jewish or not, but his last name is Friedman, I guarantee Vince McMahon is like, we're doing the Scotty Goldman angle and we're getting it right this time. Like, you know he's going to try something. Like, you just know there's going to be a big something really where you're like, good God. And then MJF will handle it perfectly. And Luke Perry's son is literally all that Vince McMahon has ever wanted. The only problem Jake Perry has is he's a little small.
Jack Perry. Yes, but also he's young enough that he'll fill out.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, the Jungle Boy angle is very much they can just do Daniel Bryan again. Like, they literally do the Daniel Bryan yes movement again with Jungle Boy.
Yeah, he can also come out and be like, I don't care who your fucking dad is. Fuck you. Doesn't matter. I'm a heel. Loses to him. That'll be great.
Yeah.
Because I think he's going to start getting heat because he's like, they're trying to make him the star of that team, but Luchasaurus is clearly the way more fun and better character. Like, Luchasaurus is like, he is Mike Awesome, except they made him a dinosaur too.
Yeah.
Also, he does like planches and sick kicks and shit.
What because I was explaining, because someone's like, what's AEW now? It's like, you know how there's like people that like liked the Attitude Era and never touched on wrestling again. They're like, what's AEW? I'm like, oh, it's really fun. It's this. And they're like, what makes that different than WWE? I'm like, I don't know. They got a wrestling dinosaur. And for some reason that everyone is like, wait, tell me more about this wrestling dinosaur. Because it's so weird. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, Disco Inferno's building, the fact people are aliens, that doesn't work. But there's something about a dinosaur is so ridiculous. You're like, I could see someone pretending to be a dinosaur.
It's not even that. It's a jack dinosaur that knows karate.
That's the most wrestling thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
There's a fucking dinosaur that's so fucking dumb. What's the Undertaker? He's dead.
He's dead. A zombie who can.
But also
he knows. Fingers, but he doesn't use that in the ring.
Knows
he just
MMA.
uses it for his entrance. What?
And he's a talented striker in
MMA. Yeah, he's a UFC ghost who loves Trump.
Open carry laws for teachers.
Yeah.
This is my yard.
Yeah, he's a zombie. He's a zombie Hell's Angelsman who lives in the yard. Bye.
So let's recap everyone's favorite Twitter beef of the week, and this is Buff Bagwell.
By the way, to all the rest of
versus
the review
the
listeners who
Titan.
messaged us to check out Buff Bagwell's Twitter, thank you so much. I got to tell you, the fan interaction has really kicked up for both of us, and it's been real fun because it's been a lot of, did you check out this Buff Bagwell tweet? I think my favorite one, there was a day on Buff Bagwell's Twitter where he just learned about the trans rights movement, and I got to tell you, I was not expecting how open-hearted he was. Like, I saw, like, someone was like, sent me a message, Buff Bagwell was talking about trans rights on his Twitter, and I was like, well, this is gonna be weird. And it was just so like,
I don't know the whole backstory. Sorry.
I don't know the whole backstory at all. I'm just like, Buff Bagwell. Like, who are you? Like,
the original tweet was like, he was like, "What? I don't know why everyone's surprised. I support trans rights. I always have." And everyone's like, "Buff Bagwell doesn't hate trans people?"
yeah, it was
everyone was so shocked at that.
Yeah, I mean,
what the fuck?
I'm also gonna say it. We were right to be shocked. Buff Bagwell does strike me as the kind of like. The fact that Val Venus and Buff Bagwell haven't opened a dispensary that's called No Homo is shocking to me. Like the fact that they haven't started some sort of weird seasteading island where everyone has ankle implants. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, you can't wear a top hat that often on television and not have people think this guy does not respect.
It's fucking calf implants. But I mean, I guess that, yeah, whatever. Anyway.
But it's also weird
Marcus Bagwell.
he's also very openly been a gigolo. Like, as it turns out, Buff Bagwell, he's just an eccentric cat. His soul is open to all sorts of opportunities.
Anyway, Buff Bagwell tweets this, and this is the funny thing. This is what I like about this is why the Twitter all-star is Braun Strowman. I think Braun Strowman is the Twitter king of wrestling, and here's why I disagree.
I'll tell you who the Twitter king is.
Okay, who is?
At Wrestler Review on Twitter.
Buff Bagwell says, "I just joined CYN. Wait, never mind. It was just gas," which we can all agree is fucking sick. That's just hilarious, John.
Did he say it's just gas?
Yeah. He farted.
He said it's farting. Hey, I got to say this right now. Buff Bagwell, you have an open invitation to appear on this program. Buff Bagwell, if we have any guest, it will be Buff Bagwell.
Hey, John.
Yes, Dylan.
I think I just watched Game of Thrones last season. Oh wait. It was gas.
You fucking got me. You fucking got me again with your gas. Oh, okay. Let me
That's
try.
a good joke.
Dylan,
okay,
try it. Can I try it? Hey, Dylan.
Yep. What?
I just grew a beard. You've been gassed.
That's good too.
Thank you.
That's good.
Did I get you? Did you believe me? Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Fuck. Guys, I think the rest of the review is over. Let's start our new game show. You've been gassed.
Yeah, it's just that joke over and over again. So anyway,
hey Dylan. Hey Dylan.
Okay. Yes.
Are you in a trench during World War I?
No.
That's gas.
Oh wait, yes.
You got gassed.
No.
Damn it! I fucking got you again. All right. So how did Braun Strowman respond to? I'm gonna say it. The best tweet of all time.
So yeah, he fucking this crazy fucking funny guy Buff Bagwell.
Yeah.
I'm tired. It's good that he likes trans people, but that was not a good tweet. Anyway, here's how Braun Strowman responds, and then I will take a second to tell you why I think it's funny, and then, John, you can tell me why you think it's funny. Braun Strowman responds with, "Funny you gonna try and throw shade? Because you..." This is, by the way, I'm reading this as he wrote it. There's no punctuation. "Funny you gonna try and throw shade because you think it's cool. It's the cool thing to do. You want to look edgy? Because you were a mark asking to take a picture with me. You should probably worry about your narrative." And then he attaches an article of Buff Bagwell with a video basically talking about all his DUIs. Now, here's why I think it's funny is that Braun Strowman, Buff Bagwell didn't tag Control Your Narrative. He didn't tag Braun Strowman. He didn't even tag EC3. He just wrote, I just joined CYN, which isn't even CYN. Like, it's not even Control Your Narrative. He doesn't even name the promotion. So that means Braun Strowman was like Googling CYN or like just had fucking subscribed to Buff Bagwell's Twitter, I guess. and found it and was fucking stood up, fucking pissed. He fucking stopped strangling ducks for fun with his dad or whatever and was fucking pissed.
I gotta say this right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is really good stuff. And I was like, it's funny just because Braun Strowman didn't use punctuation and just went at him so hard about his DUIs. It's so, I didn't even, because I assume it was hashtag CYN.
What a terrible joke. And then he's like, oh yeah, well you drink and drive.
Yeah, it's so, okay. It is.
It's like saying a bad comedian when someone's like,
dad fight drunk at a wedding. That's what it is. It's two guys who've had way too many Labatt 50s, and he's just, and this is the version of this I've seen at so many Canadian weddings specifically, is one drunk dad saying to another drunk dad, "You gonna be okay to drive? Not you've had too much, just making sure you're still a level of drunk where you're definitely gonna drive." And the other dad, who is definitely too drunk to drive, then bringing up something crazy, being like, "Not only am I good to drive, but I'm also better than you because I didn't fucking pull out and don't have as many kids." Like, just so like, such a,
none of my kids are straight up loopy haired cunts, so fuck you.
Yeah, you know what else I don't? I can fucking drive home and also one of my kids isn't gay. Fuck you. Yeah. Like, that's exactly.
I'm not divorced because I fucking don't have a small cock.
Yeah, you want to know why I'm fucking not drunk? Because I didn't fucking get caught cheating on my wife. I'll still cheat though.
I cheat.
Let me say this.
I'm good at it.
There is nothing better than someone being caught clearly just searching Twitter to see if someone's talking about them.
Good.
The best being, there was a comedian many years ago in the UK who had their Edinburgh show broadcast on Radio 4 and then started shouting out and calling out people that were shitty about him and like being like, this is because they don't like millennial, like tried to make it like a whole thing to try and stir up controversy. And it was all deflated because one of the first people was like, I didn't tag or mention you in my tweet. The only way you would have seen this is if you were continually searching your own name while your show aired. Did you do that? And it was literally just the most like, the trolls win on that one. The troll wins. The troll wins, my friend. You can't, nope. Like, it's one of those weird things where it's like you went looking for the shitty shit pipe to swim in. You can't complain you're now covered in shit. If the person had come, like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's that difference of like Buff Bagwell did a stupid joke that I think is awesome. Braun Strowman reacted to the stupid joke that Buff Bagwell did like a rat in secret for just his followers. Like, you calling me out, bro? No, I'm clearly not calling you out. I did it in a way so that you shouldn't have been able to see it. And he's like, well, consider me calling you out.
Well, I mean, it may be just like Buff Bagwell's been, wrestling Twitter, likes Buff Bagwell and whatever. It may be Adam Shearer leaning into people not liking control your narrative. But then Buff Bagwell responds with, yes, I asked for a picture. I've always had a fascination with clowns. You're mad at me over a joke. Don't be so sensitive. It's only Twitter.
Exactly. That would be like if, I just love it.
If you had a narrative that you couldn't control?
Here's my question. When is the first Control Your Narrative show? And is there a way
First of all, it's already happened. Second of all, technically, according to the rules of Control Your Narrative, Buff Bagwell's 1-0 against the Titan Adam Shearer, so we congratulate him because he definitely controlled the narrative. Well, he controlled the narrative. The match is about the narrative.
I hate this so
Buff
much.
Bagwell's winning the narrative.
Fuck you. When was their first show and can we watch it?
I don't know. It looks like it's pretty just normal ass wrestling, but no one. You know what it looks like? It looks like a indie show around 1999 because no one is in tights. They're all in like just fucking jeans, bro.
Oh, the best time.
They're not
wrestling.
Pussy ass bitch pussies with fucking tights. These guys are roided as cunt fucking shit, and they're in tight jeans. Like,
let me ask you this last question: has anyone started their interview by going, "Cut the music," and then you want to hear a shoot? That was the best. That was my favorite time.
Yeah.
That was the best worst time in 90s wrestling. We're gonna wrap this up in a second, but that was my favorite time, which was just a man walking into the ring. The music's already cut off. He says, "Cut my music," and then he goes, "Let's shoot."
My favorite thing was, I forget which pay-per-view it is, but they're doing the whole Just Incredible tour of getting to beat all the old ECW guys. And and then you just hear, and then Shane Douglas marks a line and he goes, "Cross the fucking line, you pussy!" Like it's so immediate.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
I love
take that.
it.
I like to fucking. Oh, I'm on fucking so much GHB.
Are you?
Fucked that Shane Douglas? Yeah.
Oh, Dylan, your acting
Anyway.
was so good. I thought you were admitting to being on GHB.
I think we could probably get into Control Your Narrative. All we have to do is really have a hot tweet that goes against trans rights.
Can we do wrestler
Chick
review?
or dude, you're assigned it. That's what you are.
I mean,
And then we're just wait to be the manager of Killer Cross and Control Your Narrative.
yeah. Yeah. I just want to let everyone know. I think Trump is still president. Immediately, I'm the Control Your Narrative heavyweight champion.
Here's what I like about that Killer Cross thing too. Now I have no basis for this, obviously, which is the 100%. I would say the credo of the Wrestler Review, but Killer Cross signed up for Control Your Narrative, was one of the first people on the poster, and then wasn't at the first couple shows, and then this past show was on the show. And it clearly comes off as a guy who hung out with these dudes and then realized everyone hates them and now can't back out.
Yeah,
He has to
100%.
be like,
100%.
oh,
That's the
still
best.
fucking still got to do this because I told old Adam and Ethan that I got to fucking, god damn it.
It's a thing with all of us. In the past 2 years, a lot of people have changed political allegiances, and sometimes you don't find out until you're knee deep into eating food with them, and then they just go, "I'll tell you what the real problem is, and that's the Jews." And you're like, "Oh, fuck, why did we get appetizers?" You know what I'm saying?
Oh, buddy. But I think that
That's, by the way, the other person in that play. Do you want to know who the other person in that play was?
Who?
It was a mirror.
Narrative.
I control
Anyway, I love saying
so do I, and I got
I
news
love
for
it
you.
because
I
it
will be-
means nothing and this is good.
I wish there was a camera in your house so I could just see your wife's face when she stops finding you asking her to control her narrative funny. That's the moment I'm looking for. I want
I've never
that.
shared any of this with my wife, nor will I ever.
That is true. It's weird because I've met Dylan's wife and she's like, "Who are you, stranger?" And I'm just like, "Oh, that's I forgot that she thinks Dylan's cheating on her and he's actually just doing this pod. I'm going to the garage. Don't ask me any questions."
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly how I treated wrestling in grade 8, where I would put wrestling on tapes that were porn because I knew that if someone
Of course.
if my parents put wrestling in the VCR, that's what they were called. I almost said VHS player like I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
And the VCR and press play, and it turned out it was porn, they'd be like, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So much better than pro
Yeah.
wrestling.
At least these performers are treated with some humanity.
At least they actually are independent contractors.
Damn right.
Narrative.
I'm
Anyway,
controlling
thanks
it.
so much for
Thank you for controlling your narrative, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for your
need to
narrative.
keep controlling your narrative. Guys, remember to control your narrative. This week, get out there. Control that narrative. Did you hear that fart?
get your narratives checked. Control
Get your
them.
narrative. Yeah. Make sure you go to the doctor, clue him in to your narrative, and we will see you
Let them look in or at your narrative.
we will see you
And
when
then-
time zones allow us to do another chat episode. These are really fun. I'm gonna go take a big shit now. Dylan, I love you.
I'm
You
gonna
love
take a
me?
small shit.
Whoa.
It's probably gonna want more, but I'm gonna be like, no. I control
Yeah.
my butt narrative.
Yeah. No toilet. I control my narrative. Dylan and I control our narratives. With
Oh yeah,
toilet.
I control my narrative. I shit in the sink.
Yeah.
I want
Know
to
what's weird
match and
about me?
control your narrative.
We're gonna end on this. I only use the drains in the bathroom for one particular thing. So I've been in Australia for the last couple of weeks. Unfortunately, first time I got here, I shit in the shower. So I've been shitting in the shower, jizzing in the toilet, pissing in the sink.
Alpha narrative.
That's right. I've controlled my narrative in the bathroom, and I've controlled my narrative in the kitchen and in the bedroom. I've shit in all of those places. Controlling your narrative means
That's
shitting.
sick. I made craft dinner on the rug in this hotel. I just poured a bunch of boiling water and noodles on the rug, and I yelled, "Narrative!
Narrative. Control.
Narrative controlled." Thank you so much for listening, guys. I'm Dylan Stroman. That is John Titan Shear. We are going to go yell at anyone who hires someone with blue hair now. Good night.
Control your narrative.